All right, we're live. Jason Gumz, you are one of my oldest friends, man. This is so cool to do this with you.
Thanks for having me.
We've known each other since we were teenagers, and it's really cool to watch each other's lives evolve in that way. And there was a big part of your life that I kind of missed. You know, there was like a 10-year gap almost where you were overseas working for Blackwater. And I'm excited to hear some of your stories and like what that time was like. I know there's a lot of covert stuff that you can't talk about, but you know, the little I know about Blackwater, it's pretty serious special forces stuff, right?
There's a lot of former Tier 1 operators that Blackwater hired. You had SEAL team guys, special forces guys that were all former, a lot of Rangers, and then a lot of line company guys. And there was only a few former Air Force guys.
You were Air Force.
Yep.
Yep.
The industry, specifically around like protective services, there was a lot of different companies. Blackwater was the biggest. They kind of got a bad rap based on like news media, right? One story kind of ruins it for everybody. Overall, though, that company did a lot of good things. They never had any injuries when it came to the protections they did for like senior executives, for the executive or legislative branches, like senators, things like that. Those guys did amazing work. A few bad apples here and there, but that's any business, that's any company.
So it's a lot of traveling protection for dignitaries, and that's a lot of what you did. You're rallying around the Afghanistan mountainside in armored cars protecting people?
Yeah, so all the vehicles were like 7-level armor. They could take PKM rounds. If they were taking direct hits, usually it would last I think the armor would protect you for about a minute, 2 at most, if they were kind of hitting the same window before it started to puncture through. So you'd have to have your rally plan and make moves pretty quick if you were going to egress.
Did you experience that kind of thing where you were like being attacked?
I personally got pretty lucky. I never had any of that in Afghanistan. I dealt with that on the military side in Iraq with the Humvees. Blackwater, if I saw anything, it was usually on garrison. We had one story, random guy came up through kind of the logistics entry area, so only like commercial grade vehicles would come through there. It wasn't where the client would enter through or anything like that. Guy came walking down. The Afghan guards usually took that duty. They gave him all the warnings, and he turned away, came back like 20 minutes later. By this time he had a pistol. One of the guards gave him more warnings, told him to drop it. Eventually they gave him a warning shot, but they shot him in the dick.
How did they know that's where they got him?
Well, they treated him. Right? He was down on the ground, and
that's a hell of a warning shot.
Yeah.
I thought you meant they were like like shooting in the air.
No, not typically. So the site manager, they give him like a bonus for doing a good job in protection. So I think the bonus was usually like $100 or something like that, from what I had heard. And they classified him as the dick shooter. Right, so just
great title.
Yeah, pretty great title. Things can get a little bland.
And you got $100.
I mean, that's a checkbox that you don't expect to usually hit. So that was a pretty good story. There was other days where things were normal. Salerno Air Base, where the military was garrisoned, was just like 10 minutes up the road.
Where's
that? In Afghanistan. In
Salerno, Afghanistan?
The Coast Province.
Okay.
Yeah, Salerno was the air base, and then just a little bit from there was the client site, which was called Fob Chapman initially. And I was out by the East Gate, and this massive explosion goes off. I believe it was one of the militant groups, and I'll bring up the name if I recall it. It was the one that pretty much operated on the Pakistan border. Packed this van with explosives.
Whoa.
The guys jumped out, and from the video footage, they had jumped into like a trough for protection after before the explosion, right? Because they had put
They
so
knew it was
much
coming.
so much explosives in this van. parked the van right next to the HESCOs. Well, the HESCOs were like double or like triple layers deep.
What are HESCOs?
It's just that like metal wire netting
Okay.
with like the felt liner, and then they just fill it with dirt.
Oh, okay.
And
okay, yeah.
they turn those into walls,
Oh, yeah,
right, to
yeah.
protect the bases.
Giant sandbags.
Pretty much. The explosion goes off and just breaches like all those layers. You see, I mean, this was the summer. It was probably like July or August. You see this mushroom cloud. It was probably the closest thing to Hiroshima that I'll ever see. I mean, it rattled our base.
Wow.
Yeah. So then
How far away were you?
It's maybe like a 10-minute drive. It was close.
Wow.
And then we're on standby for something because sometimes you get complex attacks, but they focused just on Salerno that time. It was pretty effective. They used like Army ACU uniforms. I think they killed like 10 people at least and probably wounded more. But I was there for that. The Bo Bergdahl, you recognize that name?
No.
It was the Army kid that left his post and was captured by the Taliban, and he was a Taliban captain for like 5 years.
Oh, yeah, this made national news.
Yep.
Yeah, I kind of remember the
he
story.
was kind of considered like a traitor,
Yeah.
right? Because some of the guys had to go out on patrol
Yep.
and go find him, and some of those guys got injured and possibly even killed, if I recall. Well, I was in country, and they based out of Coast, the team that did the exchange, and they brought in like a tier 1 team, and you knew, like, we didn't have a lot of people on site, so anytime somebody new showed up, especially like real heavy hitters, right? I mean, these guys just look specialized. So you knew something was going down, and yeah, they did the exchange right there out of Coast. You know, personally, I think we should have just left the kid, but that's my opinion on that one.
It's above your pay grade.
Well above my pay grade. Yeah, that's just a personal opinion.
This was when you were still in the military, or this was part of
No,
Blackwater?
this is my contracting years.
Part of the contracting year.
Yeah.
Tell me about kind of your timeline. Like, you got in the Air Force pretty young, a couple tours in Iraq, and then tell me about that process and then getting into Blackwater. Are you recruited, and like, how does that work?
So yeah, right out of high school, joined the Air Force.
Yeah.
You know, as you know, we partied a lot,
Yeah.
right? If we didn't hear about a party on Wednesday, we threw one starting Thursday.
Yeah.
So kind of didn't do my due diligence in school. So the military was kind of the only route that I figured I had. So yeah, at 19, joined the Air Force, 10 years there,
10
did
years.
a like 8-month trip to southern Iraq, then did the full year in Baghdad about 6 months after. So it was almost 2 years full in Iraq.
So two
like,
tours.
Yeah, back to back.
Yeah.
And then I was back in Iraq for my first contracting year with a different company. And that's kind of your foot in the door contract type. And once I was there, you know, all the guys are looking to pivot to the next best thing.
Once you did your 10 years, is that kind of like a term of service that you do with the military? Like, how does that end, and how do you shift into private contracting?
No, it was just, you know, you do your enlistments for 6 years, whatever it is, when those come up. You know, you can keep re-enlisting or you can get out.
Yep.
And, you know, for me, the contracting was still very lucrative. A lot of guys were jumping ship, right? It was just too good of money, a lot of time off, grow a beard, wear whatever you want. So jumped ship, and then got on with Blackwater while I was in Iraq with this other company. And you go to vetting where you do like a PT shooting course, all this, and they kind of make sure that you're adequate to join the program.
It's like an interview.
But a physical interview,
Physical interview.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much. You're shooting.
So do you apply for that job, or did they find you?
No, I applied for it.
You applied for it, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
you hear kind of like you network a lot.
Yeah.
No different than what this podcast really is ultimately meant for. Same thing, right? You meet all these different guys from different backgrounds. Everybody talks, and you're always kind of looking at jobs. And they're like, "Hey, there's this classified program. You should apply for it. Kick your resume to them, and you know, they'll get back to you."
Wow.
Yeah.
So people say like, oh, I did 2 tours in Iraq. You did 2 tours in Iraq, and you first joined the Air Force in like 2000.
Yeah.
Is that right? And
Yeah,
so you were
January.
there during like 9/11, and you were in Iraq during, was it Desert Storm?
No, that was well before my time.
So Desert Shield?
The second Iraq War was when I was there.
I get the names confused. And that one was
Iraqi
Iraqi Freedom.
Yeah.
Operation Iraqi Freedom. Yeah. You bought those boys some freedom. Wow. And so did you get into like real firefights and stuff at that time? I mean, I think of Air Force and it's like you're on an aircraft carrier, but you were boots on the ground though.
Yep. So we were. So the year-long tour was the one that, was mentally stressful. There was a couple scenarios. One was we were driving through like the Mahalas, and Mahala is like the Iraqi word for neighborhood.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And we're only doing like maybe 5-10 miles an hour. We see tracer rounds like arcing over the rooftops, and they're pretty heavy caliber. So we're thinking that it's a Bradley or something along those lines.
Tank,
so we're just kind of like heading in that direction.
It's day or night?
It's probably evening. It was probably maybe 4 p.m., 5 p.m., something like that. Get to this four-way intersection. They didn't hear us, and we had no idea they were there. 4 dudes standing on this corner. AKs, RPG, definitely not guys that are like there for any good reason, right? We scare the shit out of them. They kind of make us jump. We're like 5 feet away from them.
Whoa.
And so I was the lead team chief, right, in the lead vehicle. And so we're in the Humvee. We can't engage, right? We got steel doors. It takes a lot to open them. So I just tell the gunner, like, hey, shift 90 degrees left and engage.
Yeah.
He hits the one guy. It was in the like either hip or thigh area. And that was really one of the first times I ever saw somebody get hit.
Wow.
And I thought he actually got hit in the head. He froze up. His body just stiffened up, and he keeled over like a tree falling in the woods that you just cut down. Yeah,
timber. Wow.
The other guys scattered. And I'll tell you what, those dudes can run faster than I've ever seen anybody run in sandals.
In sandals,
in
wow.
Sandals, yeah.
That's so crazy to me that they're out there holding RPG, a rocket-propelled grenade, in sandals.
Well, they kind of looked like me, honestly. Literally track suits, like Adidas track suits and sandals. That's what those boys usually wore. We secure the scene. We move the 4 vehicles up, like right in the 4-way intersection. And as we're securing the scene, we start getting like PKM fire and
What's
an
PKM?
Like a Soviet era like machine gun.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, RPKs, PKMs, like machine guns. They shoot an RPG, and this comes from the other end, kind of behind us, right? So if you're imagining the 4-way intersection, the guys we initially spotted were on our left. All the fire after we secured the scene came from our right. So there obviously was multiple teams kind of operating in the area. I remember the RPG whizzing by like our vehicle. It just kind of threaded the needle. Didn't hit anything. Closer than I was far more comfortable for.
I'm sure.
So that kind of ended pretty fast, right? The guys fired and just kind of forgot. They moved on. Securing the scene, this random ambulance shows up. We didn't call for one. And I don't remember how it happened. We start looking at the guy's credentials. And the guy had a green zone badge, which was where all the diplomatic offices for like the U.S. The embassy is in that area. The cache, the big hospital is in that area.
Pretty secure zone.
It should have been. We're not sure why this guy had that badge or whatnot, and him operating as an ambulance, like medic. So it's possible that they had stolen an ambulance and were using it to recover their guys if they got injured under the pretenses that they were like medical personnel. Those kind of situations are pretty unique. You see a lot of stuff that you just wouldn't encounter normally. That was the longer tour, and that one definitely took a toll. At the time, I was also tasked with being kind of the S2. So like I would do the daily briefs, do all the intelligence stuff. I would pick the routes that we were going to drive based on whatever threats had presented themselves, in the last 24, 48 hours. Some routes would be black, right? That'd be like literally don't go on it.
No-go zone.
There might be active IEDs or whatnot going on.
Yeah.
And I also had to deal with photographing all of the extrajudicial killings. So all of the violence between the Shia and the Sunnis I was responsible for documenting. So we worked out of this station in Baghdad, right, in kind of a non-secure zone with Iraqis, and they would recover these bodies. A lot of the police were corrupt. A lot of them that were bringing in the bodies were the guys that were doing the killings.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
So every time we'd end up at the station, there'd be dead bodies waiting. I'd have to photograph them. And I probably documented over 250 bodies.
Wow.
Before I finally kind of broke and gave it up. And the day that happened, we get to the station. It was probably like 8 or 9 a.m. And there is this just chunker of an Iraqi, headless and shirtless, in the back of this truck.
God.
And they didn't clean out the back beds of the trucks. It was just this like coagulated blood, dried.
Gnarly.
Yeah, I mean, flies everywhere. It was fucking gross. Like,
Scene out of a horror movie.
That's probably where COVID started, honestly. Yeah.
Some parasite fusion.
Oh, crazy stuff.
Wow.
So I jump up in the back of this truck, and I'm trying, like, he's face down, right? No head. Rolling him over, his arm dislocates, and I feel the vibrations, like, come up through his arm, through mine, get him on his back, and I'm just like, fuck. Like, I've had enough. And then I'm looking at his neck area, and it's just these jagged marks, like they had taken a hacksaw. Oh. And so hopefully the poor bastard was dead, before they ever did that. But I had enough at that point, and I think we were probably 8 months in, and so I delegated to somebody else.
Traumatic.
Everybody kind of has their point where they just had enough.
Met your emotional, mental max, your bandwidth for dead body photography.
Yeah.
I think one story, and I'm pretty good. I don't think I'm ready for that.
I think I still have the SD card with all those bodies on it somewhere, honestly.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah. You could have like a seance and like burn that thing, man.
I know.
Let it go. That's heavy.
Well, I just,
Yeah.
I just keep everything regardless of what it is.
Little pack rat.
I know.
Thanks to Gma, the pack rat's still in the blood. It's genetic.
Yeah.
So you get through that phase, and then when working for Blackwater, you kind of go back and forth, like the contracting jobs. Like you lived in the States, you'd get a job for 100 days or something, go over and do some kind of like covert missions, which would be like protection. Were there missions where you'd go and like you'd be like mercing people, like you'd have to like
the old mercenary days,
like a mercenary,
executive outcomes and sandline from the old British companies that would go to Africa and like recapture gold mines that the government was paying them, and then the government would say, hey, if you recover these mines for us, we'll give you like that kind of stuff. That's not what Blackwater was. Blackwater was very defensive in nature, right? It was the client needs to get moved from the garrison to this meeting point, right? And so the planning would all get done, and then the move would happen, or there's static protection, on the garrison, making sure everybody's safe and whatnot. But yeah, the tours normally were 60 to like 120 days in length, and then I'd come home, and I preferred to take more time off. Yeah. Some guys would love to make money, and so they would do like 2-week turnarounds.
Wow,
a month
back
turnaround.
To back.
Yeah, because they had a plan where it's like, listen, I only want to work 2 years doing this shit, and then I want to buy a house and have it paid off.
Yep.
And so that was their plan.
Retire and get out.
For me, it was a pretty great 10 years. I didn't do it the smartest way, right? I was doing my Himalayan trips. I was going to Australia, diving with great whites. I was doing all these like experiences.
Adventuring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so contracting just kind of made sense to keep doing because it kept me in that lifestyle that, I didn't work a real person job until I was like 42, 43 years old.
Yeah. You
so from
transition
my teen
to
years,
cybersecurity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, military contracting, that is not typically your normal person type career.
Yeah, no way.
So once you're in it, your mindset just gets kind of reconfigured that's just the best way to keep doing it.
Yeah, kind of like a feast or famine kind of thing. Like,
well, the money's...
stack it up and work hard and come back and live a little bit of a hedonistic lifestyle, adventuring and taking trips. And you and I have always really bonded over climbing. I love climbing. You love climbing. We've done some great climbs together. We've climbed the Devil's Tower in Wyoming. We climbed Castleton Tower in Moab, Utah, just a couple of years ago. And you've done a lot of Himalayan expeditions as well. Tell me about some of the peaks that you've done and some of the trips you've taken.
Yeah, so definitely not as many as I'd like. Only 2 trips to the Himalayas. Both kind of prep climbs, right? The guide companies like you to have some 6,000 meter climbs underneath your belt before you would start diving into 8,000 meter. And they even reconfigured those rules. Now they want you to do like a 7,000 meter before like taking on Everest. The climbs I did the first time was Lobuche, and then went back and did Island Peak as the prep, and then Ama Dablam. So Island Peak and Lobuche worked out. Right, I've summited both those. Nothing.
What's the altitude of those 2 peaks?
They max at about just over 21,000.
So plenty high. Those are massive Himalayan mountains.
Yeah, it's a hell of an experience. It's a long day, as any climb is, right? I mean, you're moving 15, 16, maybe 17 hours, something like that. It's a long day.
Like supplemental oxygen on both those climbs?
No, you're not allowed to use supplemental until over 24,000.
Oh, wow.
I believe it is.
Yep.
So like with Everest, you need to be able to get to Camp 2 without oxygen before the Sherpas will kind of like verbally sign you off that, hey, you can do the climb.
Like they give you their blessing. He's acclimatized. Let him go.
Yeah, because they always do the warm up. It's like, hey, we're going to go from base camp to Camp 1, come back, acclimatize, and then maybe rest a day, and then go Camp 1 to Camp 2, and come back, and then you wait for your weather window and move on. Now, for Ama Dablam, I was dealing with the flu, right? It's a third world country. For Westerners, we're a little more susceptible to getting sick.
Yeah, a lot of stuff in the food and the water and sanitation conditions over
Dude,
there are as stringent as they are in the U.S.
I used to see people blow into their nose and then grab the door handle, and I was just like, it just is what it is, right?
yeah, it's coming.
But got sick right before we were heading up to base camp for Ama Dablam, so took another day at the village to kind of rest. I was in good shape. I thought that I was good to go. Move up to base camp, not really an issue. Maybe moving a little bit slow because I'm kind of coming out of a flu type scenario.
What's the altitude at base camp for Ama Dablam?
I think it's like 16.
It's pretty high.
Something like that.
Higher than any peak in the U.S.
Yeah.
Well, not in Alaska, but
yeah. Now you got to remember
lower
too,
48.
The altitude's definitely different, but the vertical gain.
Yeah.
Right. It's just like Maine and Colorado. The vertical gain of like Sugarloaf, I think, is 4,000 feet or something like that.
Yep.
Whereas Colorado, you start at 10, your base area, and you go up. So it's still the same vertical, it's just different altitudes. So yeah, the base camp to Camp 1 was all right. But that night in the tent, like my neck, it just was this insane pinch. Couldn't get it to go away. Talking to my buddy probably around like 11 or 12 at night and telling me like, hey, something's kind of wrong. I don't know what's up. Go talk to the Sherpas, and Camp 1's kind of in like a weird precarious spot. There's snow on these massive boulders. There's no lights, right? So, your headlamp only gives you so much visibility. And my equilibrium was kind of off. The Sherpa gives me a pill. He's like, hey, in an hour, if it's not kind of doing its thing, we're probably going to need to go back down. Everything righted itself.
What's this magic pill he gave you? Do you know what it was?
No idea.
So for nausea,
it wasn't nausea,
like a Dramamine kind of thing, or
well, it was more of a pinch in my neck, right?
Oh, okay. So for maybe pain relief or a muscle relaxant or something.
Yeah, possibly.
Interesting.
But you got to be careful what meds you're given at that kind of altitude, right?
Yeah, sure. You don't want something that's going to thin your blood.
Yeah, I wouldn't think it would have been anything more than like a Motrin or Tylenol type scenario. So yeah, next day we go from Camp 1 to Camp 2, which is definitely more like the rock climbing technical aspects. The yellow tower's there, where you're Jumaring up this thing, and because it's been climbed so much, the rock's kind of starting to get a little bit glassy.
So it's the most technically difficult part of Ama Dablam.
Yeah, because that's definitely more like the rock climbing section. And then Camp 2, you've probably seen pictures. It is on this very like narrow ridge, and all the tents are just like at angles. You're not actually sleeping. you're just kind of getting some rest.
Yeah, I know one guy who's climbed it from Aspen. He was a mountain guide in Aspen, and he said that they called Camp 2 Camp Poo.
Dude, it stinks.
Because there's like no place for all the people who go up there and climb, to take a dump, and so they shit all over the ridge. So Camp 2's Camp Poo. It's stinky.
It stinks. There's so much trash up there. I love the Sherpas. Don't get me wrong. Those guys are amazing at what they do. They're just good people. But logistics-wise, I don't think they clean that thing but like once a climbing season or something. There was just trash piling up.
Yeah.
So, we get our tent, and about 8 hours later, it's time to move. And we'll probably start moving at about 10 p.m. Right from Camp 2, you're just in this narrow couloir going up, but nobody put on like crampons. And so at the top of this couloir, it got icy. So we start backlogging, and people are trying to put on their crampons like in the couloir.
Backlogging is people queuing up because the other teams are going slower, and
because they couldn't like get over the cusp at the top, right, because of all the ice. And so you're trying to stand there, like the person below me is putting on my crampons, the person above me I'm putting on theirs.
Seems so sketchy.
It was pretty stupid. So apparently they just weren't aware of the conditions, and they had to ad hoc it and make adjustments. So the whole team's moving pretty fast. The Sherpa knew that I wasn't maybe in the best of health due to like the flu and kind of what had happened at Camp 1. My opinion still is that me and him should have hung back and just done our own thing at our own pace, but I was trying to move at the speed of the group, which was pretty reasonable. I start getting like really fatigued. Energy levels just start dropping through the bottom. My stomach starts getting really tight, and here comes the neck pain again. And at Camp 3, I'm done. That's it. The
collapsed, fatigued, pain.
Yeah, pretty much.
Can't move, can't climb.
Yeah, I'm just like, hey, let me rest for a little bit and, see if we can keep going on. And we're talking about timelines. And he's like, oh, it's probably this many hours until we reach the summit, but then you got to get all the way back down. And that's where a lot of Everest climbers tend to make the mistake, is they put everything into getting to the summit. Yeah. Everything you got, right? You train for a year, and then next thing you know, you're on the summit of Everest. You did it.
Yep.
You're at over 28,000 feet. You still have to get back down.
Nothing in the gas tank for the way down. Isn't that the statistic that most climbing accidents actually happen on the descent, not on the ascent? It's like most people get hurt.
Yeah, a lot of the deaths.
Yeah.
And for anybody listening that hasn't done mountaineering or high altitude mountaineering, you can die from exhaustion. First time I ever heard about that, it was almost hard to like comprehend. Now, obviously, it's not just that factor, right? You're coming down from Everest and you just have expended everything in the tank. And so dealing with the altitude on top of that, I think it's a combination of things, and they just, they die right there on the mountain.
Wow. So you're up there at 18,000 feet or something higher, maybe?
I was at like 22,000.
Oh, 22.
Yeah.
What's the summit of Amadabam?
It's like 22.5 or 23.
Oh, so you're very close.
Yeah, pretty close.
Wow.
Camp 3 is right by like the Blam, which is this big like overhanging glacier. And from there, it's just like a Jumaring kind of pretty steep ascent. So missed that. So I probably did like 80% of the mountain, maybe more. Missed the mark, unfortunate. But things didn't get better. It wasn't the end of the story. So we obviously make the determination that, listen, it's just not going to work out, and we need to head back. And descending, I just kept getting weaker and weaker. It wasn't like going lower was helping me out. My abs kept getting tighter, and I was like, something's wrong, and I don't know if it's even possible that a flu can somehow make altitude sickness like set in easier. But I was a mess. Even like rappelling from the rappel points, it took everything just to hold onto the rope and not let it slip through my hands.
Scary.
Yeah, so we get back to Camp 2, and he's like, go ahead and lay down and see if things don't get better. And it just kind of kept deteriorating. So we made the determination that, hey, it's probably best to call for a long line rescue. They finally get approval about an hour or so after we submit the request.
So long line rescue, that means that a helicopter's coming.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. They sent a helicopter from Kathmandu.
Wow.
And it'll drop like a rope, but it's like like more of a metal,
Cable.
With like a flight engineer on it. And so the Sherpas are communicating to base camp, kind of telling everybody what's going on, and everybody's starting to come out of their tents. Camp 1, Camp 2, base camp, right? Because the slow time climbing is pretty slow. So anytime there's kind of an emergency, everybody wants to know what's going on. And the helo's inbound, right? They connect me up, and they lift us off and extract. But everybody's taking video footage of it.
Of course.
And so I'm getting like all these texts.
So you're wearing all your gear? You're wearing climbing harness? You have a backpack on? You're not on a stretcher?
No, not on a stretcher. I was still able to move, but like my equilibrium was a mess. The Sherpa actually was holding on to the back of my jacket just for me to take a leak so I wouldn't fall off the mountain.
Because you're like kind of vertigo and floppy.
My knees were jello.
Couldn't stand.
Like I just couldn't
stand under your own power.
I could stand, but like movement was really weird. Even sitting down, I just kind of felt like wavy. So I don't know to this day exactly what was going on with me.
Oh, interesting. So a combination of altitude sickness and
a possible
fatigue and food poisoning and
maybe.
Wow.
Well, I mean, I'm not. We can mention this. There's been stories recently that Sherpas, insurance companies, and like the guide companies are kind of working in tandem on a fraud scam where the guides are poisoning the climbers. Now,
whoa!
This story, just for context, specifically relates to Everest.
Yeah.
As far as I currently know, that doesn't mean that they weren't doing it at other camps.
So for you to get rescued off the mountain, they get some kind of payout.
Yeah, because the insurance company, you have to send the heli, so they have to get paid for that. And typically how scams work is like, listen, if you guys get these people to do this and we get paid for it, we'll give you some extra money. So that's kind of how that went.
A little climbing conspiracy, huh? Dun, dun, dun.
Maybe.
What was this magic pill that he gave you? You're like, I don't know what he gave me.
Right.
Was that a Tylenol or was that the...
Was there something in the ramen soup that we had before we climbed?
There's something in the ramen. Oh, interesting. So you get plucked off the mountain. Tell me about that helicopter ride. You're hanging on a cable under a helicopter in the Himalaya.
Greatest contingency option.
Yeah.
As like, if you don't summit, this is the next best thing.
Totally.
Yeah.
You get to fly down. Yeah.
From Camp 2, it's just a straight drop off.
Yeah.
So you get lifted off.
And then all of a sudden there's 10,000 feet of air underneath your feet.
It's probably closer to like maybe 5,000 or 6,000.
Yeah, still
base camp, and so
a mile off the ground.
Yeah, so we lift off, and I'm just like, this is pretty fucking badass. Like at least I'm like awake to see it.
Totally.
And we land at base camp, and everybody is out of their tents, right? Like they see this helo dropping in with people connected to it.
Yep.
And as soon as I get to base camp, I'm starting to kind of feel better.
Yeah.
And then we grab our gear. The bags are at base camp. Go back to Kathmandu. They got to take you to a hospital because that's just part of the procedures and check on you. And once
wait. So you get to base camp.
Yeah.
You get dropped off of the cable.
Yeah.
Gather up a bunch of gear. Get hooked back onto the helicopter.
No, you just jump in the helo at that point.
Then you're riding inside.
Yeah, because it's like a 50-minute flight back to Kathmandu.
So you took a helicopter from base camp to Kathmandu. Also, probably a cool ride.
I've done that a few times because I don't ever feel like hiking out.
Yeah.
Right? Like I did 7-8 days of hiking in. I've done all the climbing.
You do the trek.
Like I want the Gucci experience, right? Put my ass on
Luxury.
a helicopter and let's fly on back so you get the views. So I've done
your first climbing trip to the Himalaya, you did which peak?
Lobuche.
That was on the first trip.
Yeah.
And after you hiked in, climbed the peak, came back down, you rode the chopper back.
Yeah, it was also during COVID.
Okay.
So Kathmandu was getting ready to like collapse and close up because the guides got word like, hey, on Wednesday, all international flights are going to be canceled. On Tuesday, all domestic stop. So we need to get back. So we were actually supposed to do Island Peak that time around, and we had to cancel it.
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
So fly back to Kathmandu, and the city's looking like a ghost town. Like the police and military kind of out, like locking down the town. They only left like 3 hospitals open, and I was required to get a doctor's note of like a negative COVID test to
before you could fly,
get through the airport. Well, there is just this massive queue of hundreds, maybe 1,000 people at this one hospital trying to get COVID tests.
Jeez.
It was a disaster. Like it was a mess. They had just
scary
stacks
place
of
to be
paper.
at that time. Yeah.
It was just weird.
Yeah. Wow, what a journey, man. So I'm sure you want to go back to the Himalaya. Do you
I'd love to.
Do you still want to try and go back to Bag Emma de Blom, or are you like, I want to set my sights on something else? Do you aspire to do Everest?
I would love to do Everest.
Is it? Yeah, so it's on the list for you.
No, I don't think so anymore. I don't know if my Achilles can handle all the running and cardio that I'd need to do in the lead up to Everest.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it's not off the table, but I would need to be very like strict and diligent in how that regiment's built and followed.
Yeah, serious training
To
program.
be
Climb Everest.
like uninjured, so I can climb it. More than Everest, though, Makalu or Manaslu would be phenomenal. It's still in, you know, some of the top 8,000 meter ones.
Yep. Beautiful peaks.
But you know, working a normal person job, it's near impossible to take. You need like 45 days.
Yeah.
To climb those.
Yeah.
Right. It's a lot of time.
Yeah. Expeditions take a long time.
Even Manaslu, if I go through the same company, I think I could do the trip if the prices haven't increased for like 15,000. That's like the cheapest of all the 8,000 meter ones. Makalu's like 45 grand.
Wow.
You know,
All said and done.
Yeah, and that doesn't include your
45
flight
grand,
over.
45 days, $1,000 a day. That's a big pill to swallow.
So
with your normal person job, you're in cybersecurity. I showed up at your office last night. You couldn't even let me inside. I had to stand out on the sidewalk like a bum for your normal person job.
It wasn't
It's a cool
on purpose.
transition for you, I feel like. You know, you had your 20 years in the field of like military and private contracting, and now you have, you know, a normal person office job, but you're still in the world of, do you call it military? I mean,
It's
how
a
do you
government
define
contractor.
cybersecurity? It's a government contract still.
This one is. The
Yeah.
previous job I had, there was some like clients that were like government contractors, but it was a bit different. Cyber's not, I probably wasn't built for it, right?
A little too mundane for you.
I mean, how we grew up, we didn't really grow up with video games and all that. Like it was, you know, Nintendo was out, but we were outside doing things.
All day, every day.
You know? And so mentally, physically, I'm just built differently. A lot of the guys I work with are not like me.
Younger.
Definitely.
Tech pros.
Yeah. You know, I mean, that's their thing, right? That's their true interest. For me, cyber is, it's a great career, right? It's very interesting, some of the stuff you get to do and learn, but it's very technical. And it's just, I've technically already had my career.
Yeah.
You know, cyber is just a paycheck to try and allow me to, you know, own a home and do some trips here and there. It's almost like my grave's kind of half dug at this point. That's what it feels like. You know, I'm not saying I'm that old or that beat down.
Well, I
but
can imagine you don't have like a lot of peers that you know, there aren't a lot of like battle hardened war vets in there with you.
No,
you know?
we're the minority. Currently, there's 2 guys that were former MIL. I think that's all there is. Everybody's great, right? It's just definitely a different group of people. Coming from the military and like contractor side, those guys have very A-type personalities.
Yeah.
Right? You know, that's kind of the guys I connect with. You know, definitely nothing bad about these guys. It's just different. That's
So
all.
do you have one big objective, or like what's on your radar for like the next climb or the next trip? Are you excited about something, or is you just kind of feeling it out right now?
Patagonia has been on the block for a while, and you know, if I can't mountaineer, right, the big trips like I really want because of time and money and just injuries, then Patagonia seems to fit that niche, because you taught me to climb, right? You have been my mentor. You were the guy that introduced it to me in Montana in my younger years. So all the credit goes to you.
I can't take it all, but thank you.
Right. There's only two men in this world that really made me who I am. Right. My father and you. My father for, you know, just learning how to be a man and, you know, those aspects. But where you fit in was the ambition, the drive, the commitment, and the challenge. And so one of my favorite quotes is, "The obstacle is the way." You've been living that for as long as I can remember, right? Longer than most people even know how to live it. And that's been impressive. And, you know, me growing up with my sister in our household, we didn't do hardly any trips. If we ever went anywhere, it was me, Mom, and Holly to Wisconsin. So I didn't get to really experience life until somewhere in maybe my later 20s. And then those contracting years, 30 through 40, was really all of my experience. That's why I stayed doing it. So yeah, with the climbing, I've been in multiple disciplines, right? You taught me how to trad climb. And then I got a great story about the first time I tried to go to Nepal. We'll get to that in a second. But then I got into mountaineering and ice climbing and alpine climbing. And so, you know, Patagonia fits that like alpine rock climbing type setting with some amazing rocks and routes. And so that's what I'm kind of keying in on right now. To go back to the first failed attempt to Nepal.
Yeah, let's hear it. Yeah.
So before I got into mountaineering, I just wanted to do something unique. And I was like, how many people truly go and see Everest Base Camp? Right? It's like a 10 to 14 day trip. You hike in on the Everest Base Camp route, the one that, you know, Sir Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay did. So you're in the footsteps of like the mountaineering legends.
Yeah, the first ascensionists,
like,
the first guys that climbed Everest.
You know, climbing Everest in the 50s.
Yeah.
With like wool and just terrible gear. Like tough. No way around it. Tough. So I thought it'd be just a cool experience, and booked the trip with this guide company like 8 or 9 months prior to going. You have to send them your passport. At the time I had, I don't know, 8 or 9 months valid, more than enough time. You do the train up, you don't even think about it until you pack up and ready to go. Fly from Salt Lake to LaGuardia. Just FYI, I fucking hate LaGuardia. That place can suck my dick. Fuck off. And they got the airport broken up, right? Like where you do TSA and then you have to go outside and go to another fucking terminal and do TSA again. Okay, that's a hassle. You guys need to get your shit together and fix that. Either way.
Get it together, TSA. You heard it here first.
Well, I think it's more of the developers of the airport themselves, but you have to deal with DSA twice. So I have plenty of time, right? I'm well ahead of schedule. It's going to be like a 15-hour flight to Dubai. I got a shitty back. It hurts on flights. So I'm getting liquored up. Right? Like, here comes the Jameson. Just
let's get medicated.
Yeah. I don't have any pills, so we're doing it the liquid way.
Make it a smooth flight.
And so probably like an hour before boarding, they start calling some names. And I hear my name called, and I'm like, no big deal. They're probably just doing some like random checks. Right? Just doing what they got to do.
Random.
So I go up, give my passport to this girl, and she's looking at the kiosk, looking at the passport, looking at me. And she's kind of repeating this process. And it starts to get a little weird. And I'm just like, why is there's like this delay? And she looks at me, and I'm pretty comfy right now. Right?
You're loose.
Yeah. And she's like, I can't let you board this flight. And just, my heart just drops. Because I don't even have an explanation of why. She's just telling me that she's not going to let me on the flight.
Can't go.
And so we start getting into the specifics. She's like, you don't have enough time left on your passport.
Oh.
And I was like, well, what are you talking about? I was like,
return.
Yeah, because most countries require like 60 days valid on your passport when you're departing. And I think I had like 40.
Okay.
I was like, I'm only going for like 2 weeks. Like I will be back in more than enough time.
Yeah.
Right? Like starting to get irritated. This was also kind of before I was ever getting treatment for my PTSD.
Yeah.
So like I knew things were kind of maybe wrong, but I wasn't getting it worked out yet.
Yeah, your mental headspace.
Yeah, so it didn't take much for me to kind of go over the top. And we start arguing, and eventually I snatch my passport back from her, and I'm just like, this is bullshit. And she just picks up the phone and calls the NYPD.
Whoa!
And so I know what's coming.
Oh boy!
And right, this is New York, 9/11, airplanes, they don't deal with that shit. So I'm just like, okay, let's drop it down a few notches, and I just go sit down.
You're this big, tatted up, drunken military guy who's pissed off. I wouldn't want to be anywhere near you.
Yeah.
Even knowing you.
So I take a seat and just be calm and wait it out, right? I was like, this just is what it is. There's no way around it. So I see 4 NYPD officers with intact gear, not just in their normal uniforms, like in armored plates. One guy's got like a tactical shotgun.
Whoa.
Like they are kitted out for like worst case scenario.
Come like take you down if necessary.
Yeah, you know, I mean, that's the extreme version. And I'm just like, hey, I think you guys are looking for me.
Yeah.
And so they come get my side of the story, and they're like, okay, just hang here. And they go get her side of the story, and they're like, well, listen, you know, we get it, right? But we can't let you board. And I was like, yeah, I'm pretty comfortable in that fact now. Now, because this is on me, right? I didn't check the passport. There is no return flight home. I'm not supposed to be going home for 2 weeks. I have to buy a flight right then and there to come back to Salt Lake after I just flew from Salt Lake that morning. I'm tired. I'm drunk. I'm carrying around this like 35-pound, 40-pound pack just full of climbing gear.
Yeah.
There is no like place to sleep in LaGuardia. Another fact that you guys need to fix. So I just sprawl out the sleeping bag and mat in just some random corner of the airport.
Right in the terminal.
I have like 12 hours to waste in this airport.
You're like, I'm going to rack out here. I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get home, and I am livid for like the next 72 hours.
Oh, I bet.
So I'm just sitting in my old man rocking chair, eating Jelly Bellies, just trying to think of like what's next in my life for adventures. And I remember a contracting buddy telling me about AAI, American Alpine Institute up in Bellingham, Washington, that they have like courses for veterans. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to start mountaineering.
Yeah.
Like it lit a fire under my ass. So as screwed up as that trip was, it technically did something good. Now, most likely, you know, you get to the Himalayas, that's all you want to do is climb. You see these amazing, beautiful snow-capped mountains. So most likely I would have done it anyways. But, you know, long story short, that's what happened. So I'd take a 7-day alpine course up on Mount Baker, back that up with a summit of Rainier, which tends to be my first mountaineering objective ever.
Oh, cool. Your first big climb was Rainier.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep. I mean, I lived in Washington all those years and never climbed Rainier and had to go back to do it. And I'm hooked, right? You're up on Rainier. You just see all these like crazy huge glaciers, all this, you know, like compressed ice that is like amazingly blue, beautiful. And I'm like, you know what? The challenge is the way. Yeah. Right? Or the obstacle is the way, as that quote goes. And I'm in. That is the first of what is going to be a nice climbing resume, right? Because it hasn't all been mountaineering. It's been mountaineering, alpine, rock climbing. And so I don't have a ton of any one, kind of mixed and matched it.
Yeah. And blend of the modalities.
I am not a great climber. I don't have a great climbing physique, right? 6'2", I look more like a college linebacker, right? I'm probably 25 pounds heavier than what really a person should be carrying. You have a climbing physique, right?
Skinnier.
You probably could have been pro. You were an amazing climber. You still are.
Well, that's great.
Hayden Dudley
I love the story of, what it took for you to find that.
Yeah.
I have a couple similar stories where some of the worst experiences in my life, in retrospect, turned out to be some of the best, and like I'm really glad that happened to me. I'm also grateful for the story. I was almost expecting you to say that you got into some kind of like rowdy brawl, and then there you were in the middle of LaGuardia, face down, getting zip tied and maced, kind of thing. So I'm glad to hear they were able to talk you off the edge.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Well, I'd mentally talked myself down.
Yeah. I mean, a bunch of guys show up in tactical gear, and it's a good de-escalation technique for sure.
I could have taken one of the guys and the girl, because there was 3 guys and a girl. She was only like 5'4", so she unfortunately didn't have much of a chance.
That's your military mind of like, okay, if push comes to shove, you're first, you're second, third guy, that's the oddball out.
Absolutely. The other thing too is, when we had done like our Krav Maga instructor certification course through the military, they had us doing combatives in our helmet and plate carrier. And so I know how just heavy, and like if somebody gets on top of you, you're just not moving around.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So she just didn't have a chance. So I could have taken 50% of them. Maybe with a good puncher kick, I could have got 70%, but there was no way I'm taking all 4. Eventually, they probably would have butt stroked me with that shotgun, and that's going to hurt.
Put you to sleep. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, that Marcus Aurelius quote is one that I'm really going to remember that really sticks with me, and like the obstacle is the way. I think that's powerful. There's so many cliches that could align with that like it's all about the journey and not the destination, and it takes the hardest moments of our lives to appreciate the ones that give us the most ease and the most comfort, and you can't have the sweet without the sour and all those kinds of things. And
absolutely,
I appreciate that, man. It sounds like it's been a good journey for you, and I look forward to the next climbs that we get to share together.
Yeah, we're going on over 20 years of dabbling with climbs here and there when we can fit them. I know you got
closer to 30, old man.
The wedding thing coming up, and you got the family thing coming up. So congratulations there.
Yeah.
Molly, if you're listening, phenomenal lady. She is Hayden's mirror image.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So
but better looking.
I'm proud of you.
Well, thanks, man. Appreciated that. Well, on that note, it's a good one to end it. Let's go climbing.
Yeah, let's do it.
Cheers, Jason.
All right. Thanks, buddy.
You.